rivalry system, the lifeblood of universe mode. How does it work? Why does it work? When does it work? How do you end rivalries? How do you start rivalries? What storylines are best? Who has the best cutscenes? How to get them to work correctly in universe? That's what we're talking about in today's video.
That is just a fact of life. Yeah!
Rivalry system in WWE 2k23 can be a little bit overwhelming if you don't know what you're looking for. You should be able just to start up the match mode and it works.
Why does everybody always look at me? Hey, this booking stuff isn't easy, you know.
And there is ways to do it. So today we're doing the complete breakdown and deep dive of the rivalry system. For the rivalry system, every time you go into universe mode, you will see something that says rivalry action. In each show, you can have up to 4 rivalries in your show that you're doing. However, there is a way that you can make it go completely crazy and have a rivalry action in every match that you book, which is pretty awesome. But how do the rivalries work exactly? To set up a rivalry, you need to go into rivalry actions, which is by pushing down the right thumbstick on consoles. This will give you an array of things that can and will happen as universe goes. However, to make them trigger, if you want to get the cutscene that you want, you need to go into free mode. By going into free mode, you can pick a list of options. But not so fast. These list of options change based on what you're doing and who they are.
What?
We're going to look at the different ways that rivalry systems are set up. There is a low, medium, high, and very high chance. This is the intensity of your rivalry. Low has you doing things like interrupting or handshaking or, little rivalries that just kick off your universe rivals. However, medium is a little more intense and those rivals last longer. Your rivalries last like this. A low rivalry is 4 weeks. A medium rivalry is 8 weeks. Your high rivalry is 12 weeks and your very high is 16 weeks. There are also rivalries that happen based on whether you're using women superstars, tag teams, or singles wrestlers. Each one of those you set up is going to give you a different list and different action based on what kind of match type that you're going into. This is how it's set default to do. However, when you start tweaking it, it will change the way you end the rivalries. Rivalries also go like this. There's a certain set of things that you can only do on main shows compared to how to end rivalries at your PLEs, which give you a totally different list and levels of things that you can do. For example, an end rivalry has different levels. You can go level 1, level 2, level 3, and based on what levels you pick is based on what happens with that rivalry. To start little rivalries, you can go through and change each way it looks by, I want to do an attack, an ambush, or, handshake. However, there are over 270 different rivalry actions that you can unlock as you play through the rivalry system. Rivalries can actually get pretty crazy, from going through dropping steel cages down on opponents to something as simple as a handshake to putting people through tables. It gets absolutely nuts. And what you do is by going through the rivalry actions, you see these universe cutscenes play out for you. So rivalries get pretty crazy, but how do you set up a rivalry to show up on every show? Oh, we'll get to that in a moment. It is pretty fascinating what you can do. But for your basic, I just want to play a rivalry match, how do I do it? And how do you win each time? To set up the rivalry, you go through and you put your rivalry action in. If you go into free mode, you do have the list of what you can do based on that wrestler. However, if you do it just the way Universe wants you to do it, it's going to give you a 50-50 shot of who's going to win. Set up 2 rivalries, go through, it will coin flip basically and give you who's winning that rivalry. To get a rivalry to trigger every time that you're doing it, that you want this action to happen, you don't want anything else to happen, what you do is you click the rivalry that you want, and then you go over to the opponent's side and delete that rivalry. Therefore, there's only one rivalry action. Save there, and when you go through, that will be the rivalry that triggers. However, keep in mind that most rivalries have a whether you win or lose option. So if you win the match, you will get this certain cutscene. If you lose the match, you will get this certain cutscene. Also, it affects your attributes tremendously based on which cutscene that you are picking. If you are picking one that gives you extra agility or takes you up the title ranking or down the title ranking, each rivalry will give you different boost and assets as you go through the rivalry action.
And another thing to keep in mind as you're playing through, you'll notice how it gives you minus 14, minus 10, minus 15 momentum. This is based on how much momentum you have in the rivalry. If you do not have enough action points in the rivalry, then you cannot do that specific action. If you only have 35 momentum, you can't do something that costs 45. It would spend all of your action points. This comes very in handy when playing in superstar mode, and that's where it has the most effect.
Rivalries can get a little bit wonky in universe mode, but to make sure a rivalry ends every time, it has to be at a PLE. By going to a PLE, you are able to put your match enders or outcomes right there for you. You go in there and you can set, this is how I want the rivalry to happen. 90% of the time in my playthroughs, what I'm finding is happening is the reason why rivalries are continuing months later than they actually should is actually due to Universe's fault, and we'll show you how to fix it here, is that it is going down and clicking the extend rivalry by one PLE. This is also defaulted in Universe that if you're simulating through, it will do it on level 3, which makes it go for another month and a half. So each time you're doing it, if you're simulating that rivalry action, it is defaulting to give you the longest rivalry. How to change this is to make sure that you have a guaranteed outcome every time. Like I stated before, delete one action, just put in the action that you want to happen, and that will end your rivalry every time. You can end rivalries just by clicking the delete button. And here's a fun thing that you can do. If you don't want to do those rivalries, and you want to just see cutscenes, what you can do is go into each week of the show, delete all of your rivalries out so that you have no rivalries on your show. Go into your show and then edit match. By going into edit your match card, it gives you a list, and you can go through and put each rivalry action for every match on the card. Now, there is a catch to this. By doing this, it will start your first 4 matches on that match card as a rivalry. What you do is when you go to your next week's show, go into rivalries, delete those rivalries out again, and then it clears your card for you so you can rinse and repeat this method. Go back into edit match, add 4 more match rivals. Now, just because it is registering those 4 rivals, Universe mode lets rivalries happen even though you're not seeing it. They happen in the background. Doing this method of having a different cutscene in every match is going to go ahead and give you allies and enemies based on what you picked. It's going to happen for those superstars, even though it's not showing up in the universe, that it's just giving you those 4, that it's like, oh, these 4 are in a rivalry. It's still going to have repercussions on the rest of the roster when you do it this way. So be careful exactly how you do it. Your universe can go completely chaos by doing it this way, but in a good way, because then you will get more cutscenes for everything that you're doing. But the system is only going to register those 4 rivalries. So then on your next week's card, you'll have those, the first 4 will be your rivals. To do this, just delete it again, and you can continue doing this. If you want to get into that much detail into your universe, you can just go ahead and delete it out each week, add your cutscenes. You can do it randomly with letting the computer pick what happens, or like I said, randomly picking the way that you want the rivalries to go. Rivalries are very interesting in universe, and they work in hundreds of different ways. Also, there are cutscenes that are just made for certain superstars that have past with other superstars. Just like there's commentary in the game for when Kevin Owens fights Stone Cold Steve Austin, there's also cutscenes that if you put these two together only happens when those happen. There are so many to catch. Some of the ones that have guaranteed their own cutscenes is, for one, The Undertaker, Edge, The Bloodline has their own cutscene, Sami Zayn has his own cutscene, and many others have just distinct cutscenes or commentary that kick in when you're doing certain rival actions. There are so many combinations of these that happen, though. There is no detailed list of do this to get this cutscene. Even in the ways that the rivalry system works, because Universe is a little bit bugged at the end of the day, you can't say get this and you'll get this every time. I have tried to get it and I've gotten the cutscenes on different rivalry actions. It seems like once Universe reads that's the superstar that you're using, say you're using John Cena, it's going to give you certain John Cena cutscenes no matter what rivalry action you pick. And so far from everything that I've tested is it's completely random. Comment down below if you found a certain cutscene that makes a action just happen every time, guaranteed.
What's more fun than beating up John Cena?
Are you having superstars just leave your universe? They're there 1 week and then they're not when you clear out your rivalries and you're wondering what happened? That's probably because of the loser leaves town rivalry action that can only be triggered at a PLE. By doing this, it completely unassigns that wrestler from your shows. Also, this is how you trigger injuries. If you want injuries to happen, you can do this as a high-intensity rivalry that will take your wrestler out for 12, 24, or even 48 weeks, where they will be completely injured and unusable. By clearing out these rivalries after you're done with them, make sure that they're not injured. Or by setting this up as an injury action every time, you can injure half of your roster within 3 or 4 weeks of Universe mode. So that is a general overview of the rivalry system and some of the things you can do. It gets incredibly deep and can be incredibly overwhelming at times. I understand that. Comment down below what problems you're having with the rivalry systems or any questions that I didn't answer in today's video. If you're looking for more WWE 2k23 content, check out that video right there. Remember, make life your beach. We'll see you on the next video.